Hello, this is David Weigel, parental alienation activist and warrior. Yes, unfortunately, I'm still going by that name, that title, because the worst has happened. First, before I get into anything here, I just wanted to say this is not going to be one of my 25-minute rants. This is going to be specific to the people that have been near and dear to me and following this all along, and helping me through this monumental travesty of this divorce scam that I've been living in, this hell on earth that I've been living with my children for a god-awful long time. The purpose of this video here, as you can see, hired a film company, and I've gotten a lot more professional here because this is now a life mission. The purpose of this video is to intro the series of testimonials that I'm going to be placing on the court of public opinion, because no matter what I've tried, no matter how hard I've worked, my due process has been violated beyond belief. I have not had the ability to be heard in this facade of a court in an unimaginable amount of days and times and hours spent on this process. So I'd just like to basically try to sum up where we are right now. Okay, we are exactly 1 week before the crescendo of this 12-year scam comes to pass. The absolute center point of where this entire process has been leading for 6 years, with reckless abandon. This has been 12 long years of this narcissist abuse, legal abuse, scam abuse. 6 years in the courts. It resulted in 7 grand mal seizures. That's the bad one. That's the ones where you're lying on the ground and choking on your spit and could die very, very easily. And when you come to, all you see in the eyes around you that have seen it is they're watching somebody die. And 3 generations of college I had put away for. Kid from Bergenfield, gone. For what? For what? But the most important is the 2 beautiful, innocent kids who have been caught and trapped and just want to be kids. Just wanted the love of their daddy. Just wanted the fun, the joy, everything that we've ever known together. It was just ripped from them, twisted and toyed with as a toy, with no regard whatsoever for what we know, what science knows does to them. My whole family has been mentally beaten, bludgeoned, twisted for years and years. Because of course we only know that only men can be domestic abusers, right? Yeah, that's one of the many fallacies that this whole system plays off of. Abuse is always about power. I feel raped. I know that is a hell of a term. But after being in Rikers Island, I feel I could use that word. After walking through Rikers Island, after being issued your bed and your clothes, panic is just not a strong enough word. A false arrest that was pre-planned. They got together and discussed this, how to put it together. Oh my goodness. It's all coming down to this facade of a U.S. court. Unbelievable what has become of to the rule of law in this country, the lack of it. This little band of criminals, all working from the same playbook. I'm members of a number of parental alienation support groups around the world, actually. And the reason why my profile on Facebook says, you know, activists against narcissist abuse and the system that weaponizes it is because you cannot have parental alienation without the legal fraud system supporting it. It's all coming down to one corrupt judge. Judge Tondra Dawson is as corrupt as the day is long. I can say that because I've got 6,000 files over 7 years proving it. And so far nobody cares, but I'm not going to stop until everybody cares. Because if this is happening in my world, how long is it before it's happening in your world? This stuff doesn't happen in a vacuum. But in 1 week's time, on the 25th, she's going to slap the gavel down. Mark my words. I have gotten ahead of it again. This is exactly what is happening. She is going to slap the gavel down on a document that was planned years ago. Years ago. Yeah, before my mother's death in December of 2020. I still can't believe a band of characters could shit on my mother that way, on that time period. You know? Yeah, the judge had the opportunity to confuse a grief-stricken guy with a drugged out criminal. God, how many times she mentioned it on the transcript, even going so far as to say, "Oh, has Mr. Spitzer seen the recent drug failures?" But what does the record say? You know, part of the reason that they make this allegation is because who's going to come out publicly and say this? You know, all of a sudden you just say, Dave Weigel, he must be a drug addict. Well, I'm going to rely on the 2,000 negative tests that say that I'm not. I'm going to rely on my 28-year track record that says that I'm not. I'm going to rely on my 51-year track record as a man that shows the world that I'm not. Because eventually the truth is the only thing that's going to matter. You know, I saw something recently from Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan, where he said, real tyranny is when not just the power structure is lying to you, it's when everything is about deception. From the dog walker to the hot dog salesman on up, everyone is lying everywhere. And he said, but only a few people, a few truth tellers, a few brave souls that are brave enough to speak truth to power can actually hold the system together. And I'm not anywhere near in the same world or league as a Joe Rogan or a Jordan Peterson or Bill Maher or Jon Stewart. But, that's the team I want to play for. That's the team I want to support. My mother's death, it was originally postponed, all right, because court was in 11 days after her death. But all of a sudden, it needed to be put back on the schedule 4 days after her birthday on December 20th. On Christmas Eve, they hauled me into court last minute. Why? Why? They think that these little unknowns nobody can put together because it works in the court. But does it work in the court of public opinion? Does it work for what people believe, right? So this was decided upon back then, that this was happening. But how'd they get there? Right? This was decided before I had the trial on January 6th of 2022, where I lost custody of my children. Lost custody of my children, yep. Because my attorney, Taylor Koss, spent 15 emails, 9 phone calls, 13 texts, all telling me, stay there. You've got your neurologist appointment for your seizure, your first neurologist appointment that you can get in 3 months on January 5th. It's going to be postponed. I've got a conflict too. No problem, Dave. It's going to be postponed. Not a single word that anything of merit would ever even happen at that case, let alone I would lose custody of my kids. Was that valid? Was that relevant information to bring up to me from my attorney? Was that duty to communicate? Doesn't take a rocket scientist to put this stuff together. So it was decided upon there. You know, first they made me a druggie on my mother's death. Then they made me a criminal who lost his custody of his kids. Who loses custody of his kids who's not a criminal, right? Except they just have this one problem that there's been no convictions of me committing a crime ever. So they got to make it look that way. Everything is about a show. And that's just what I've tried to do here is, yes, I'm trying to speak truth to power. Yes, I'm trying to help my situation, my kids, my future. Because, yeah, they've given me my kids back. But at the very same time, they've taken away my ability to care for them, to serve them. They are setting me up on the 25th for financial destruction because the judge can don anything she wants in the nature of child support. The $400,000 to the biggest scumbag on the planet I have ever come in contact with, Daniel notes. And this guy would sell his own mother for $1 and ask for change. Unbelievable. That it could be all set up from so long ago. You know, they made me a criminal, and then they started getting worried. They're like, oh, wait a second, we really need to make him a criminal. We really need to make this guy a criminal. So we'll wait a year later to March 23, when my lovely ex, Georgina Weigel, still legally, but innocent apparently at some point, she decided to hold on to an email from me, calling her every name in the book, all right, but not saying, I'm coming to murder my children. Yeah, she held on to that email for a year to see where she could strategically use it. And it was then submitted 1 week before the time period to go in and discuss the financial end of this divorce. So the custody side of this divorce took 5 years. But the financial analysis of this divorce, oh, no. Judge Tondra Dawson had to put that to be done in 1 week's time and could not be postponed for any reason. Why? You got 2 Wall Street executives here, later in their career. They've got assets built up all over the place. And it's well known that this judge is not so good on the financial side. So that was the reason to bring this referee in, this referee Joanne Honig, whose job was to rubber stamp this referee report that was written in total by Daniel Notes. Okay, and the core of this referee report is to pretend that all financial facts are just not known, They've spent 6 years obstructing any and all evidence. We, to this day, have never done financial discovery. How is that possible? This is what I try to help people that are just coming into this system at this point, is that it's the absurdity that they use as tactic. The more absurd it is, the more unreal it is. And it's unreal, it must not be real, right? Like, what? Their entire way of dealing with this is to say, look at this guy, he's crazy. What's he talking about? Come on, who could go through a divorce and never do? It's the first thing you do is financial discovery. How is that even possible? Because Who's looking? Is the FBI looking? No. I try to put in an appeal? No. They've got that angle worked out as well. Go get another lawyer. I've told 100 times, you need a good lawyer, Dave. Yeah, wrong advice. If they're in this system, they're in the system for a reason. It's pay to play. Why 5 days? 5 days, 5 years we went over the custody, and the financial arm had to be settled in 1 week's time. And it could not be postponed. And lo and behold, as what some of you may have read a year ago, happened to be one of my best friends out in Berlin, got in a horrible accident and was in the ICU. I heard, I went immediately. What I didn't know was I was set up to be arrested as I walked into court. If this didn't happen to Adam, I would have walked into court and I would have been arrested for the email I sent a year ago because I was coming to murder my children, according to Georgina Weigel. Yeah, I know this is embarrassing, but what's more embarrassing is that it's gone on, is that this behavior has happened. It's not embarrassing that it's being made known to the world. The embarrassment is that it happened in the first place. So here we are. We're at the final chapter. So this divorce, this financial assessment, when they call the referee report, this had the ability to just to go away. A month ago, I got a call from Georgie. All the heat coming from the work that I've been doing like this, getting around to everybody she knows in the world, got to her and got to her daughter. And her daughter put her foot down and demanded her father back. And my baby Marky has changed the world with this. So she called me a month ago. And she said, that's it, I want an end. I'm giving you back your kids. Now, of course, I've heard this how many times before, but there was something that sounded real in her voice. I wanted to believe, because she did. She gave me the kids back, and you guys may have seen the pictures and stuff. But she didn't give me the kids back because she had an epiphany. She gave me the kids back because she had to. And she's broke. And she's broke. And her boyfriend's broke too. So they need my money, okay? They absolutely need my money. And I came in to save the day. But were they supposed to respect that? No way, I came in and just for the record, right, I pledged $5,000 a month until the kids are 26 years old, 13 years from now, plus college. But all of it is coming from how much money I can make from today forward, which is why I'm doing this, because my livelihood is being taken away, is being seized in 7 days because I spoke up about fraud. I didn't pay attention to where the fraud was coming from. I just spoke out that this is fraud. And who am I to say that? Well, I'm going to create another video with my credentials about why I'm experienced enough and trained enough and credentialed enough to speak on this matter. But it does not take a rocket scientist. It does not. So even with this $1.3 million that I've now committed to a woman that, mind you, has made the same amount of money as I have over the last 20 years. The same. Top 1% income in the world. If I was a guy making $150,000 a year, and I know that sounds obnoxious, okay, but I'd be getting a maintenance from her. But why am I paying it? I'm the man. So apparently in this world of equality, certain women just want to default back to the 1960s when it suits them better, right? So yeah, I'm trying to do this to be an example to my children. I believe in equality, okay? I want my daughter to have absolutely every single opportunity that she's deserved. But that requires that she behave appropriately as well. That she doesn't want what she doesn't deserve. I told the kids, the war's over, and we had dinner together. And my daughter told Georgie, my daughter told her that if you move this guy back, you move this Saurav Chatterjee person back in with me, I'm moving out. I'm moving with Dad. He's played you. He's winded you up for 5 years. All he's been here is just to try to destroy Daddy because Daddy made him scurry up the side of a building. Scared him. But that's what weak men do. So I'm moving to Connecticut. I told my daughter that home is where your children are. Home is where your children are. So we submitted CSOL actions a week before court. All right, even firing her attorney. It was done. It was over with. But nope, the back channel was working. They decided, all you have to do, Georgie, is go in there looking disheveled, and the judge is going to ask you, Georgie, but you want to be divorced, right? And then you could just say yes, and then the judge will hear, oh, so you want to continue this divorce action in court. Forget about what you signed and submitted and sent in a week ago. I can just wave it all away, even though it's on the official records, her signed signature. Jointly, we want to cease all actions. But the fraud of a judge, Tondra Dawson, just pretends it's not on NYSIF right now. She can wave it out. I heard over and over. She can just do that. She can make laws not laws. She can make rights not rights. She can make crimes acceptable in her court when it is extraordinarily obvious it is all for money. You trying to tell me, I'm going to be putting specific videos together highlighting the business model of this scam, and I will absolutely put my license and my life on the line to tell you there is absolutely no way that all this money going out does not circle back to her in one way or another. And I will guarantee you people like this, they do not go far and wide to hide their self. They do it out in the open. I'd be surprised if it's not on Venmo. But it's there. You follow the money and you'll see all the dots connect. And if I have to connect every dot, I will. Because I've got no choice. I'm being subjected to debt slavery. I might be, So we go into court in a week from now, and the judge says, boom, you owe her $700,000 in back child support. You have it. I believe you have it. Forget about what you filed with the feds, okay? I believe you have it. I'm the judge. So when I can't pay, what happens then? I get thrown into jail right then and there? For how long? What happens to my clients? What happens to the 100 families I've been dealing with for 20 years that are now going to be forced to sell out of their illiquid securities that I custom build myself at 15, 20% losses that they would never take if this didn't happen? 107 times I've done this over 11 years, never taken a penny of principal loss. But if they're forced away from me, nobody knows how these are constructed. They'll be kicked out. Clients will lose millions of dollars because of one judge's ego. I can't stand for it. I'm not going to stand for it. This is not going to continue. Judge, you can do anything you want to me in your court with only your ears hearing. But this is going to the entire world. And if it takes me 100 of these, 1,000 of these, 10,000 of these, to get people interested and to get people to see how this is seeping over into their world and how important this is, then I will. If you send me back to Rikers, which just the even thought of that, seeing that trauma again, experiencing that trauma again, I wasn't supposed to get out. It was a fluke, complete fluke that I got out. I was supposed to lose everything. I was supposed to wake up a month later before anyone knew I was even in there. That was planned by people who work for the government in law to an innocent man that they just didn't like was hip to their game, hip to their fraud. Well, here's the result. All right, this is all set up to end on the 25th. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do. I know that they want this to go away, go completely away, and I have it set up to do it. Judge is going to say, referee report stands. That's it. She knows I don't have it. Then what? I'm subjected to pay, what, $20,000, $30,000 a month also that she knows that I can't do with my business right now. Unfortunately, I've had to spend all this time and effort. And and on my seizures, I want it known that I did the most fiduciary thing I've ever heard anyone do. I called my compliance officer and I said, I feel like, this is such a health issue now that, I'm managing people's life savings. Isn't this relevant information for them to make informed decision? And he told me outright, he said, no, your HIPAA laws are so strong that no one has any right to know about your health. It actually supersedes your fiduciary obligations. And I said, no, that's not good enough. These people are my friends. And I put together an email on September 8th and sent it out to everybody saying, I've been having these grand mal seizures. They don't know where it's from. And you might want to have your money sit with another advisor that understands structures until more is known about my condition. And people with millions of dollars, I don't take anything from them. I'm blessed that 75% of my clients stayed with me after that, but I don't fault the 25 that left. Advisors having brain seizures could die at any time. I don't blame them at all. But because I told them that, a third of my assets left, and I'm not making the money that I was making in 2018. So the whole fraud of this referee report is they're pretending that my income in 1 year, 6, 7 years ago, is relevant today, and the comparable is my ex-wife, when she was out of work for the only year or 9 months that she's ever been out of work. Wow, can you do that? Is that not financial fraud? Purporting two numbers as comparables that are anything but? I believe that's Financial Fraud 101, page 1, section 1, chapter 1, page 1. But in Tandra Dawson's court, it's good as gold, because who's getting the money? It's absurd. It's absurd, and I don't blame. Part of the scam is, again, the absurdity. The absurdity lends itself to them never getting caught, because who's going to look into it? Believe it or not too many people are really interested in following up and going after a dirty judge. There are better career moves in life, and I understand that. But this is so egregious now. It's just so egregious. So basically, I've got no choice but to prove the case myself, right? But I'm not a lawyer. How am I going to do that? Thank God AI is with us now. Because this system, like any racketeering, any refined organized crime, has got all the angles worked out. I'm not the first guy that this has happened to, right? They've done this over and over and over and over again. Every person is there for a reason. Every role is there for a reason. So they've worked everything else out, except this, which makes sense because lawyers are idiots when it comes to technology, okay? They just are, all right? It's not the way their brains work, okay? If anything's going to catch them, it's because they've been ignorant on technology. And boy, oh boy, are we at the time period where, geez, wouldn't AI do this job better than humans? Process all 6,000 files, okay, of evidence and submit it in there and compare it against all the known human knowledge related to law, family law, child psychology, and fraud. And now be able to ask the question, how much of the decisions made by Tondra Dawson followed or were aligned with the evidence? What percentage were in complete contrast to the law, to the purpose of the law, to the intent of the law, to the facts? 99%? Once AI proves the case, then maybe we have a different ballgame. But right now, I'm walking into the guillotine. Right now, I know my fate. She does not like me. That's for darn sure. Okay? And she's going to show me how much she doesn't like me and what kind of power she has in her world. Only chance I have is getting enough people, smart, kind parents, normal American citizens that care about the world that their kids are growing up in, care about justice, truth, and the right things happening, to be appalled enough to stay with me on this journey. It's my only hope on this thing. Because his people, they have absolutely no intention of breaking this money machine for anyone, for any child, at any cost. At any cost. So the next couple of videos that I'm going to be launching, one is going to be going line by line of this referee report and laying out line by line exactly how, where, and what is complete and utter laughable fraud, with all evidence to prove it. Because you could do to me whatever your heart desires in your little court. All right? Maybe jail. Maybe this does it. You know, I don't even know if this gag order is still on me. Which, how is that legal? Doesn't it say in the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law? No law? Doesn't it say specifically with regards to voicing concerns against the government for regress? Isn't that specifically what I'm doing? How can some overpaid meter maid take away a U.S. citizen's First Amendment right? Oh, technically, because it presents imminent danger to my children. Does anyone believe what I'm doing here today presents life or death, imminent danger to my children? From me. Yeah. That's the kind of shit that flies in that court. No, you know, you're not giving me my kids back with your left hand and then destroying their future with the other. Not without the record of the facts that is exactly what you're doing, going out on permanent public record of this fraud and systematic child abuse. Thank you.